Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where we've got the information on the next fusion coming to raid. It's a force defense-based legendary for the High Elves called, actually pretty cool name, the Incarnate, and cool lore for this one. We'll take a look at her full skills in just a second. Let's read the information from Plarium first, right? So on Thursday, the 6th of June, so this is in just under 1 week, right? So it starts next week. And it is going to be a mixed fusion event. What is a mixed fusion? Well, a mixed fusion is, instead of collecting, like, in this case, it would be rares to fuse them into epics, you actually collect fragments for each of the epics. They've had it before where it could be 4 different epics, and you have to collect specific fragments for them. Most likely these days it's going to be 4 copies probably of the same epic. We'll find out. And you have to collect, therefore, 400 fragments for that epic. Fuse them up. Then you have to get the epics up to level 50, 5-star ascended. And then you fuse them into the legendary, right? So that's going to be how it works. It means that as the fusion goes, you don't have the tedium, I suppose, of having to level up a bunch of rares. It's pretty similar to a traditional fusion, honestly. I don't see a massive difference myself. So I'm actually curious, do you prefer a mixed fusion to a traditional fusion? I think it's sort of the worst of both worlds. It's probably my least favorite. This is, I think, a Brogni style fusion was this. I think just the fragment fusions are great. Traditional fusions are hard. This one is like you've got to collect all the fragments and then you've got to do the fusion anyway. I don't know. Let's read this, though. In the world of Teleria, the Incarnate is a perfect soldier and an immortal being. The sole purpose of her existence is to serve as Arbiter's guardian and resolute warrior, a duty reflected in her skill set, which unlocks additional abilities when they're both on your team. Right, so run her plus Arbiter together. She will obediently join your Arbiter in the arena or in battle against the Hydra. However, even when not paired with the Arbiter, the Incarnate remains a formidable champion on her own, capable of standing her ground and being a valuable addition to your roster champion. Her A1, okay, well, we'll look at that. Okay, well, we'll look at the actual skills instead of reading their summary of the skills, right? Let's look at what she actually does. So, here we are. Attack Intruder. I like the names of this stuff. She's like a sort of robot. It's cool. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30. That books to a 50% chance of placing a provoke for 1 turn. Has a 10%, I guess that goes to 30%, chance of counterattacking when an ally arbiter is hit. Occurs once per hit. That's actually interesting that it's once per hit. So if an arbiter gets hit multiple times, she'll do multiple counterattacks, it seems. Or we'll have multiple chances to counterattack. I mean, it's still not great. If you hit arbiter 3 times, she might counterattack once on average. Right, so not amazing. So it's a double hitter, each with a 50% to provoke. So you basically have a 75% chance to provoke at least once. It's okay. Not great. It's certainly rough coming off of Wixwell, who is an absolutely insane A1. This feels really underwhelming in comparison to Wixwell. It's just a bad comparison, right? Formation Phalanx 3 goes to a 4-turn cooldown. Attacks all enemies, has a 75 bucking to 100% chance of removing all shield buffs and 1 random buff from all enemies. Then puts shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to her defense. Very similar to Wixwell. Okay. So a shield is proportional to defense. She doesn't provide her own increased defense, and neither does Arbiter. And presuming her damage scales off of defense as well, you might really want to have an increased defense champion in the team to make the shield strong. Hard to say how good the shield's going to be. Like Wixwell's is decent. Valkyrie's is massive. It's hard to say. So we'll have to actually see the multipliers. Seems like an okay move, right? AoE attack. Strips off shields and 1 random buff, and then a shield for your allies. Okay. Defensive measures. 5 books to a 3-turn cooldown. Move me over here. Puts ally protection on all allies except this champion for 2 turns, and then puts strengthen on all allies for 2 turns. Okay, fairly standard move. Crisis response and ultimate purpose. 2 different passives, both on 4 turns. The first one increases this champion's accuracy by 20 for each ally under ally protection. So let's say in arena, that's 60 more accuracy. It's nice, I guess, not game-changing. And Hydra, be 100 extra accuracy. Seems a little bit dodgy to me. I mean, if she is going to be your provoker in Hydra, she doesn't seem good at it. No, not good at it at all. Yeah, I don't think. That's pretty worrying. And yeah, you wouldn't want to rely on the accuracy buff. That seems more of an arena thing. Like you'd probably be building her with accuracy, I think anyway. I don't know. When killed, resets the cooldown of the Destiny's Call skill for any ally arbiters. If there are multiple champions on the same team, this effect only activate. Bring multiple arbiters, reset them all. Destiny's Call, that's the revive. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I actually don't know what her other moves are called. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so it's the revive. So this resets Arbiter's revive, which is an AoE revive with 20% turn meter fill, extra turn if someone successfully revived. Okay. Right. Ultimate purpose, increase her resistance for each ally under protection buff. So in Arena, probably 60. In Hydra, could be 100. Maybe a bit more useful. This champion will also receive 20% of the damage of any ally arbiters. If there's multiple champs on the team with this skill. Okay, so she basically takes 20% of the damage going towards Arbiter. If any ally Arbiter is about to get killed by a fatal hit, puts unkillable on her for 1 turn. There's multiple champs on... Okay. And there we go. That's the whole champion. Not great is my initial impression. I'm curious. So... it's a lot of synergies with Arbiter. Like, run her with Arbiter to do extra stuff. Let's say in Arena, if you put her in with Arbiter. Now, Arbiter is more of a speed team champion. This champion is not really a speed champion at all. Like, you would probably want to open with the ally protection strengthen. I mean, I guess you could open with the A2, remove shields, but of course it doesn't work against bolster sets. You could roll a 50-50 to remove stone skin. I guess that's what you would do. She doesn't seem like she's got a strong synergy with Arbiter. Like, you've got Arbiter, you've got your damage dealer, then maybe you've got a lockout champion or crowd control or something. You throw in her as well. It's not amazing synergy. 20% less damage to Arbiter is okay. I think the unkillable buff on Arbiter is quite good, right? So that's actually quite nice. So yeah, that's cool. And especially like if she died, right? Arbiter would go unkillable if she was also brought to 1 HP, and it would reset Arbiter's revive. Like, that's okay. Doesn't seem very strong to me, though, honestly. This seems like more of an early to mid-game arena champion. At best. I don't know. Yeah, she seems like, all right, help out an early game player, maybe in live arena, tag arena, maybe classic. This could be a good addition to your Arbiter once you get Arbiter. I don't see anyone later in the game. I don't see any obvious use, honestly, for this champion with Arbiter. Like, you don't even use Arbiter a ton late game. She's still relevant, but you don't use her a ton, and it's usually very much so in fast, aggressive teams. I don't see it. For Hydra, I think she's going to be best for Demon Lord Clan boss, honestly, is my thought. And maybe some other bosses. Hydra, I don't see it either. Like, ally protection, strengthen, and shields. That's usually more defenses than you need, honestly. Like really it is. Like, with a Krisk team, you can usually just get away with ally protection, you know? That's usually enough, pretty much, for Krisk to keep the team alive. With Wixwell, he can keep a team alive with increased defense shield. I don't think you need ally protection, strengthen, and shield. I think it's actually too much defensiveness, and she's not bringing you much offense. In fact, almost none. Like, removing 1 random buff from all enemies, that's actually somewhat useful against, like, the reflect damage stuff. That's okay, but I would not be looking to run this champion in Hydra at all. Like, she cannot mischief tank. Like, Wixwell is just a million times better. Just a million times better than her in Hydra. It's actually a shocking comparison. She is overkill on the defensiveness. Wixwell's so much better. She can't mischief tank. She doesn't have any buffs. She's just helping you stay alive. I don't know. Her provoke is okay, but again, it's nowhere near as good as Wixwell's. And the point with Wixwell is that he can keep counterattacking. She's like a really inconsistent at counterattacking. I don't know. I feel like this is the worst fusion of the year. Where I think she is best. She's going to be really solid for Demon Lord. Like we have seen with Wixwell. you know, you make your team super tanky and they can go for ages. Now, she obviously doesn't have shield growth stuff, but still, she is bringing you ally protection, strengthen, and a shield, right? That's a ton of defensive buffs. So for Demon Lord, or let's say Iron Twin, like we know that I think they've been teasing again more the Iron Twin, Phantom Shogun, and Sand Devil reworks. She could be quite a strong defensive champion for that. Like ally protection, strength, and shield is a really good trio of defensive buffs. That's really strong. So that would be useful against any bosses that are hitting you really hard. She could protect you against that, and she does have them on a 3-turn cooldown. So she do like A3, A2, A1, A3, A2, A1. I just don't see her being particularly useful in Hydra or Arena for anyone past the mid game. It's my initial impressions. Obviously, we'll test her out. We will see. But yeah, my thoughts, she seems like the weakest fusion so far. I mean, the people, you know, like, oh, community opinion on Vaultkeeper Wixwell has been a real roller coaster. But when Vaultkeeper Wixwell was revealed, people were going nuts saying he's the worst fusion of all time and he's garbage and he's useless. Like, people who thought that a 100% chance to provoke on an A1 was terrible, they must be an absolute shambles. Seeing a 50% provoke, their minds must have absolutely exploded. Must be inconsolable right now. Like, what is going on? Everything they thought they knew about the game is in tatters around them. Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't seem great, and I would be concerned as well because it is a mixed fusion. That means it's going to be pretty hard. Now, final quick thoughts. I think a lot of people will see this and skip. The only thing that I would say is, I think last year, we explicitly saw certain champions that, again, were not amazing. Like, I think, for example, Timid the Fool was a great example of a champion that's clearly not amazing anywhere in the game. But then Cursed City came out, and like, this guy has been actually great for Cursed City. So personally, I don't use him in Arena. I use him a couple of times for fun, and he's okay. But, you know, I don't need him in Arena. But I use him all the time in Cursed City, and it's like, whenever he shows up in Cursed City, I'm like, oh, fantastic. Timid's going to absolutely crush it. We know that there is new content coming to the game. It is possible that she could be okay there. Like, who the heck knows? Or again, if there's further iterations of Cursed City, maybe like that'd be sort of her place for a late game player. It's really focusing in on that very, very niche, very limited content. Like, I don't know, like if you have to fight Demon Lord with only high elves, she might be really good. Fighting Demon Lord with only high elves, it's a heck of a stretch, guys, but that is the sort of thing. So she's really, I think she's not a high priority, but if you are in a position where fusions are easy for you, then she would be worth getting. I would certainly not be in any way, shape, or form hyped to get this champion, though, or to get her soul. Is my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.